one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, be with us today as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind the best interests of all of our residents. Help us, Lord, to be good, kind, and just follow your teachings. I ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
We've got the minutes from the June 16th meeting. I know Doug said he had a couple of minor corrections that Tony made for us. Anything else?
I have no problem with the copy that was handed out. I move we accept.
Okay,
Motion, or you're making a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, second.
motion by Doug, seconded by Stan. Minutes are approved. What have you got for us, Tony?
The first thing I have is the Allied weekly health insurance claims, which I verified. The amount is $6,844.30. $68.44.30 for Allied weekly health.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Stan, seconded by Doug. The Allied Health claims approved.
We have the Caisson Group for the employee navigator charges, and the amount of that is $191.
Move we approve.
Second.
Motion passes. Motion by Doug, seconded by Stan.
And we have workers' comp, Eastern Alliance. Payment. That's in the amount of $53,502.41. $53,502.41 for Eastern Alliance.
And that's just for
Right here, we
claims.
can't say them out loud,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay.
Privacy.
Move that we approve.
Second.
Motion by Doug, seconded by Stan. That claim's approved.
And we have the Northwind prescription insurance claims. The amount of the Northwind is $38,578.07. $38,578.07.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Stan, seconded by
Shannon,
Doug.
are we having pretty good response from the employees since we went to Northwind?
I think so. There were some bumps that I had to help everybody work through. There's a couple people that reached out, in the beginning of the year, but I think we're settled now, yeah.
Very good. So that was a good move, I think.
I think so. I ran the numbers the other day and, I just did the time periods of the year from the claims data that I had with Northwind, and for the same time period last year, we had not spent about 80,000 so far with Northwind compared to CDS, so I think it's on the right track.
Yeah,
No.
thank you.
I don't see it was reopened. It sounds like it was closed and reopened, so
So huge.
I know.
Shannon, the open it.
I'm sorry, Tony, what else have you got for us?
I think we had a motion to vote on that last one, didn't we?
We did.
Okay. Next, we have the accounts payable claims. The accounts payable claims, which you should have received via email from Glenda,
Got those.
$395,950.61, $395,950.61.
Through those, I didn't see anything, Stan, that, I had no concerns.
Yeah, same here. I'd make a motion to approve the claims.
I'll second the motion, approve claim.
Motion by Stan, seconded by Doug. Claims are approved.
I'm not answering you. And the only other thing that I will have that action needs taken, we'll actually do when Inspector Dan Hackman comes up with his annual report, so we'll wait and we'll do that at that time. Just don't let me forget when he's up here that we go ahead and approve the monthly report.
Okay. Good deal.
And other than that, that's it. I'm assuming Clayton's.
I don't know.
We're supposed to have this ordinance. I guess we can still do it. I've got the number for it later.
Okay.
If he's not here. But as far as my stuff,
I haven't heard from him.
I haven't either.
Okay. Come on up, Nate.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Couple of different updates for you here. First one is just a item for our county guardrail improvements federal aid project. I had received a set of draft plans. Covers all 50 bridges that are included in that federal aid safety program. The project actually doesn't bid until February of next year. But one of the steps that we need to go through is approve letting the project before that February line, which means we have certain things ahead of that schedule. So this is a little ahead of schedule, but I'd rather have this milestone done if we can versus kind of waiting until the last minute. And it's kind of more critical when we get into the holidays in November, December. So I have a copy of those plans. I emailed you a link to those. It's kind of a big document for me to email out, so it's something you'll have to download to see. I am recommending approval on that. You have a blown up copy of just that signature block there. You have that. If you're willing to accept those, then
We'll walk right into it.
make a motion to sign that,
Into
and
the
then I can
cloud.
attest it, and I'll scan and send that back over to BFNS for us to move forward. But that's what that request is, and you'll see. And there's here's a copy of those, a physical copy of those plans, actually, which includes the map of locations, because this is different than the other sheet that you have. Okay. Okay.
So you say that'll go out for bid in January?
Or,
February.
it'll be out probably late December, but the actual bid date will be like second Wednesday in February. So that's the timeframe we're looking at. So it'll be part of NDOT's February letting schedule. That's when we're looking at this going out. So, but if you're good with that, then I just ask for your motion to approve letting the project.
Guys have any questions?
I don't move that we, go ahead with the project as Nate recommends.
No, I know you've been working on that for a long
Yeah,
time
that's a-
and, between the engineering and everything, so, yeah, I'd certainly second that motion.
passes.
Thank you.
You have something you need me to sign there?
There's a paper, there's a couple copies of just kind of like reduced copy of that top sheet. That is the 1-to-1 scale. So if
Okay.
you want to sign those blanks, and then I'll attest it.
Okay.
And then I'll scan that back, and then they will crop that image and put
Need
that on.
3 copies of this, is that what you need?
I just brought extras just in case, so. It's just hard for me to recreate that here, unfortunately, so. Nope. And then, lastly, I've got a list here, and I can go through all of it or just part of it, but I just wanted to give it for the record for you. This is the 26-27, really it's a 27 future projects draft. It's an outline of what projects I'm looking at doing going into the next year. With the draft budgets that have been turned into the county, this aligns with that general budget. So we're looking at different partial deck patching projects, future small structure placements that are in the works, community crossings matching grant applications, whether ones that are ready or ones that I'm proposing to go after in 28 and 29 for construction. Current federal aid projects that I would like to pursue, possibly at the end of this year, depending on the next letting that comes out. And then one of the pile coating projects, and then a map that's attached gives you kind of the distribution of the bridge projects. Not everything that's on this list is on the map, but the bridge projects are. That's why I gave the locations of the small
Okay.
structures there for you. So
Good.
you can see there's a lot of attention being spent south of 218 on this list because there's a lot of damages that have been done to those bridges that need to be addressed.
Okay.
So that's why you're kind of seeing the separation of where the attention is on some of these projects. I wanted you to have that, and then as we get closer to certain submittal deadlines, I'll be coming back to you with grant approvals for as far as what submittals I try to make, so.
So, like you mentioned, a lot of, south of 218, is there a reason?
I've got numerous joints and approaches that are being damaged by the horseshoes. I mean that to be perfectly blunt, 162, 149, 166, 143, all four of those are specifically damage attributed to horse and buggy traffic. So they need repairs. Those don't specifically need replaced, but it's surface damage that is causing damage to the deck. And then I'm gonna have to do larger repairs to those bridges if I don't address those. So
So who identified those, problems?
that stuff, I've identified those based off of different inspection reports. I'm gonna have an updated overall inspection report completed, which may add to this. Unfortunately, that's not gonna be done in time for me to really set a budget for next year, so that inspection report is really going to affect what I'm kind of laying out for 28 and beyond. So this is based off of previous inspection reports, complaints that I've received. Some of the highway guys will call me with concerns about different bridges as they're out there.
Sure.
So I try to compare what I'm hearing from the public, our employees, myself, the inspection reports, and come up with a plan to try to tackle it. But there is a significant difference in the bridge conditions south of 124, and in this case, along the Wabash River corridor, than what you would see along the St. Mary's north of Fort. So, but that's kind of the outlook right now. I want to make sure that you had that, and if I make changes to it, obviously I'll let you know. But that's what's reflected. This project scope is what's reflected in the budget request to the county council.
So does it kind of put you, and I guess I'm just reading through this email on the governor's, cutting the
Fuel
fuel
tax.
tax.
Yeah.
And one of the things it says is the governor's stated intent that the local governments be held harmless should be supported through a structured replacement mechanism. So that's kind of a big if right there, I
Yeah.
think. So I don't know if that affects your projects or Brad's projects.
It affects Brad directly. It'll affect me indirectly depending on how they fund community crossings. Because of how we approach community crossings grants. I'm pursuing those. Part of the recent SB1 change was to do a direct distribution to the counties. Well, because we don't know necessarily what that direct distribution is, it was our intent to roll that into chip seal projects and asphalt overlays that way, and then I would pursue grants for targeted localized projects like these bridges. But the pot for community crossings went from $250 million to really for us, we're in a category of about $50 million. So it's a huge reduction of eligible funds. We've been successful, but I don't know how long that will last. Federal funds are there as options, but those are really kind of limited to major rehabilitation or replacement projects. So I'm trying to target certain types of work here and what you've seen in this list to try to spread the dollars. My funding for Cume Bridge doesn't come from the gas tax, it comes from Cume Bridge, which is property taxes. And as SB1 changes how property taxes are done, that may or may not have an impact on that fund and what we're able to do for the public. So kind of a long answer.
So this
Question,
this will directly affect Brad.
This will directly affect Brad because that money, that money from that gas tax is what pays the salaries, puts the trucks, buys the stone and the oil. I mean, that is the
But-
revenue stream.
So he's also affected obviously by the decrease in community crossings, but he's
Yep.
also affected by the decrease in MVH funds.
Yep. Because
So-
it's something that the public should understand or needs to understand is that property taxes don't pay for your roads typically. Property taxes pay towards bridges and Cume Bridge, but property taxes don't go to roads. Because of how you structure lit goes towards roads, but that's at a commissioner discretion. It's something that you set up in your income tax structure, but
The seat that they do.
the CBIT, yeah. So that community economic development income tax, that does go towards roads at a percentage. But yeah, this gas tax reduction policy will affect income for every county across the state.
Well, and they're talking about a lag from from the reduction in gas taxes in April, we'll start to see that
It'll start to
happen in
hit, I
June.
know. Paul's out doing seal right now. They're on that. They're finally starting to go to the dry days. They're out there working on that now. So kudos to them. But I think every county that I've talked to or heard from is anticipating as much as a 50% reduction in revenue because of that gas tax suspension. So the governor wants to make sure that these counties are held harmless. I hope so, because that will affect the revenue going forward until that's brought back. It's just how the state is set to pay for maintenance and care for roads. So, all right,
Good. Thanks,
sorry.
Nate.
We shall see what they do.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
I don't see Brad here, so we're gonna move on. Rick, what have you got for us this morning?
Not a lot, gentlemen. They started demoing the record room yesterday,
Good.
so that's under progress. I did notify Shelley, I think she's out of the office until like the 29th or something.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, a lot of little ones and twosy things, but
Are they gonna be parking over here while they're working?
they parked out here to load the drywall and stuff up
Oh,
with a trailer, dump trailer. I know they were there yesterday, so. I'm trying to just up against the building here.
Good.
Other than that,
I wonder if he's gonna call 811 in the city when he drives posts.
I don't know, but I hope. And I put them where I thought there was nothing. You never know, I guess.
I think he's probably got a standard procedure he works through on that.
I even think they have something that they detect too.
Some kind of sensor they can use.
That's what they did at the courthouse for me.
Okay,
Okay,
very good.
Yeah.
Anything else for Rick, guys?
I'm good.
No, very
Thanks,
good.
Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
I will be out tomorrow and Thursday and I'll be back.
Okay.
Did we ever get the door replaced over in the basement of the jail where we were, or did we decide not to do that? I forget.
I think
Basement courthouse. should be-
we're gonna
Yeah,
do it.
basement
I
courthouse,
think
I'm
you
sorry.
elected not to put a fob on it.
Okay,
I
right.
believe that door is coming in and you brought that up. I just told Shannon. When they bring that door down, they have the equipment for the photo ID machine and camera, so
Okay.
they'll bring that also.
Good,
So hopefully we'll get that underway before too long.
good deal. Very good. Okay, thanks, Rick. Dan, come on up. We'll run a little ahead of time. That's a good thing.
Morning, gentlemen.
Dan,
He was even here early.
Yeah, you guys all have a copy?
Yep.
Yeah.
We do.
So the state weights and measures year runs from June 16th through June 15th. For some reason, I don't know where they picked that. So this is the annual report here of that time period. Like it says there, 1,189 total inspections, about 1088 correct, 19 rejected, and 7 red tag, which red tag means it has to be shut down.
Okay.
For example, gas pump is leaking, it's gotta be shut down, it's slightly out of tolerance. You can give them a week to get somebody to calibrate it and then go back and retest it. So that's
okay,
the
so
difference.
Dan, just give me an example. On the gasoline, you had 527, you got 14 rejected and 1 red tagged.
Right, so
So does the 14 rejected, if they correct it in a certain amount of time, it doesn't get red tagged? Okay,
usually get a week to get the
so
company.
you have to go back and double check to make sure.
Yeah, they contact me and say, fuel company's been in and recalibrated the pump. And I check it, make sure it's accurate.
So if it's red tagged, then you have to go back and check that one again
I'll
too.
have to check it too, but it's completely shut down right away because it was leaking.
But out of the 7 red tags that you had for a year, Are all of those back in operation?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For example, the one on the top on the vehicle, city or county, those are all truck scales. Farm truck scales,
Yeah.
bungee scales. And they just had the one was out of tolerance. Another one wouldn't even register. It was so far off, it wouldn't even register, it just shut it down. They couldn't even use that one anymore until they got somebody come in and recalibrate.
Mhm.
So just a question on, if, on the gasoline, I mean, there's numerous gasoline stations all over the place. Do you just randomly pick one out to check during the course of a year, or,
Do all of them once a year.
oh, you have to do all of
All
them?
of them in the county once a
Okay.
year.
Got it. Interesting. Wow.
And every grade on every pump, so 87, 89, 91. If there's diesel, you gotta do twice. It's E15, you gotta do those. So every pump, every grade,
Wow.
pump has to be checked.
So how long does it take you when you pull into a station with maybe a half a dozen pumps? How long does it take you to do all that testing?
Like 4 or 5 hours.
No kidding. Wow.
You get one like
Thank-
Casey's
Thank
or
God we don't have a Buc-ee's, huh?
Casey's or Coors where they have 16, 18, and 20 pumps.
Yeah.
It takes you almost all of one day and part of another day.
Wow.
Do you give them a prior notice that you're coming in tomorrow or anything? You just show up?
All of them.
Yes.
You know, nobody can get ready for me to be there. So.
Yeah, there you go. Interesting. Wow, that's a lot of time.
So you do the scales out at transfer station?
Yes.
They're, well, those are fairly new scales, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like Monroe in Geneva, Cell Barn, you check those skills too?
Yeah.
Huh.
That'd be a non-commercial scale, like kind of like the 4-H scales or the wrestling scales, all 3 county schools, all non-commercial scales.
So very occasionally I'll see a tandem axle truck come through with a bunch of weights on it. Is that a state thing?
No, that's probably either Annabis or Breck Bueller, Norris Scales, or Fairbanks. There's about 5 of them I work with. They come in, like this morning, we were at Bungie at 5:45 this morning. They bring their truck in, they got 30,000 pounds of weights on the truck. So they put 30,000 pounds plus their truck is usually 36,000 pounds. So they can try to test the 200,000 pound scales in Bungie, for example. A lot of the farm grain scales are only 100,000 pounds scales.
Yeah.
but Bungies are bigger, obviously.
Hmm.
So that's what those trucks are. They've got 1,000-pound weights they lift out, put on a trailer. Trailer weighs 5,000 pounds, and they've got 25,000.
So if a farmer has a scale that would weigh a semi, do those get checked or is that up to him to make sure they're accurate?
Those get checked.
They get checked?
We do all those too.
Wow. Oh, scales.
So they have to have one of those, they have to coordinate with myself and one of these scale companies like Annabis or somebody to
Meet them out there?
meet there at the same time so we can be checked.
Wow.
Don't forget to.
Do they, like my neighbor's got a farm scale, and if I go weigh something, it usually hops on 20 pounds from back and forth.
Yeah.
So as long as that scale's calibrated to a 20-pound variation, is that the way?
It's actually, if they're 20-pound, if they're 20-pound scales, or some are 40, some are 50, depending on how the bigger ones, they can go up to 3 deviations of what they call deviations. They could be actually up to 60 pounds off one way or the other, and still be legal.
Really?
But typically, scale company prime, try to try to dial them in as close as they can. Sometimes some of the older scales, 20 is as close as they can get because they're
Right.
so almost worn out. But, typically, they can get them within right on or within 20 pounds.
Well, as I've told you before, Dan, this is all fascinating to me. It's like a whole world that I didn't even know existed till I got this job. So thanks for what you do and appreciate you doing it.
Sure.
We need to approve this report. So you need a motion regarding the reports in front of you guys.
Will we accept Dan's annual measures report?
Second.
Motion by Doug, seconded by Stan. The report's accepted.
See you
Thanks,
next
Dan.
year.
Okay.
Well,
Or
I'll see
maybe
you-
before.
I'll see you before then.
Yeah.
I'll see you. Yeah, if you need me before, let me
As
know.
far as your annual report, See you next week.
Thanks, good job.
Have a good day.
We're running quite a bit ahead this morning.
I don't know.
We really don't have, um,
Marcus is gonna be here in a few
Mark's gonna
minutes.
be here.
Got that ordinance.
Mark Burry's gonna be here. We've got Mark Wynn coming up yet. We got Kara Gerber on the agenda, but not for a while yet.
I texted Mark and told him it might be earlier, but
Okay.
start telling where he's at.
Okay.
Kara, I
Okay, that's
don't
okay.
know how to get a hold of her, to be honest.
One of the things that we, and I don't know whether you can help us through this discussion, one of the things we could kick to is the whole CETA discussion. It could take a while for us to wrestle out around a little bit.
Yeah, but seated really. And Mark would be familiar with this when he gets here, but. Council approves and appropriates the funding, but the commissioners decide what is paid out
How
of
to
seated.
allocate.
Obviously, we know that some of seated point two goes to the hospital bond and.
Do we have a breakdown of, I know you sent that to
I
us.
gave that to you at some point.
Yeah, I got
Do
it.
you guys
here.
still have that?
Yeah.
Let
Doug
me,
has it.
I'll find that.
And yeah, I did email it at some point, the current breakdown.
2026 is, total was $2,597,035.
And that all,
That was the Regional Sewer District, Adams County Economic Development, the NERC, Highway, Hospital, Council on Aging.
and the council, some on the council didn't realize, they thought that was the entire budget for the economic development director, and that is not the case. That is not the case. That's just a portion of it. It just so happens that when they created this at the state level, they called it CEDAT, which is economic development.
Yeah.
So, you know, you guys are the ones that would need to decide if you want to keep that as is, if you want to change it.
Now, that's a 2-year plan, right?
2 years, although you don't have to wait the 2 years. If you did it for 2 years, you decided next year you wanted to make a change, you can still do that. It's just the attorney's gonna have to write up the ordinance, which is what they'll have to do now after you give them guidance on how you want it written up. And then I believe once you guys develop that CETA plan and you vote on it, it then goes to council for them to appropriate funding for it.
So when's the current plan that we have? Was it 25, 26?
It was
or
24 and 25. So
24,
We've been
25.
operating on 25 since 25.
So we don't have,
So this would effectively be 26 and 27 that you're doing.
we're almost halfway through 26. So are we late in doing this?
Didn't you say it just rolled over?
Just rolled over.
It just rolled over, so we can still do 27, 28.
You could, yeah, because it just rolled over from 25. So what you see there is the breakdown for 25 is currently what you're seeing in 26. And yes, you certainly could make this for 27 and 28.
Seems logical thing to do for me, but
And then,
Well, I think, you know, this might, with all the transition that's going on with, economic development, with some of the personnel transition and the relationship discussion as far as looking at a contract between us and them, and I guess I don't want to hold the Economic Development Corporation in limbo as they look for a new director and new positions. But on the other hand, I hate to commit support when we've got some things that we're discussing as far as the relationship too. So I'm not sure where to start, Steve. What do you think?
Well, certainly we can start, you know, we've got an allocation of regional sewer district that we reduced last time we looked at this
60 to
plan from
50.
60 to 50.
we-
I always felt like, and I know I've heard members of council wonder out loud when they were gonna be self-sufficient and on their own. So I think we could continue to look at reducing that in probably a structured way. As far as economic development, I have a meeting actually at noon today with the board. and we're going to begin a consideration of a more structured agreement between the commissioners and the ACEDC. I've looked at that proposal or what Allen County uses. I've sent that out to the executive board of the ACEDC, and we're going to discuss that today. I think what I'm going to advocate for is if we can come to an agreement for 2027, I would like to see us, I don't know whether we need to stay at the 190 foot, and that, the ACEDC, that's a percent of the tax collected, correct?
It is.
Versus, that's not a fixed amount.
Is it like
It's a
12% or something? I forget what the exact percentage
I
is.
think we pay that twice a year, I think. out of-
You know, they,
Well, we just approved $91,000, so
Yeah.
it was probably $182,000.
the arrangement that Allen County uses is for a fixed amount versus a variable amount. You saw their amount was $350,000 for 2026, I think. So I'm wondering if maybe we don't come to a fixed amount versus allowing that to fluctuate so we can put it in a contract
Yeah,
if we decide to go that way.
yeah.
The only thing to think about there, Steve, just in the back of your mind is with the lit changes the state is doing, it's all gonna end up going to councils in some way, shape or form. So if you make it a fixed amount, they've got to remember that when they set the tax rates. And not knowing how or what they're going to do, a fixed amount is more dangerous if you don't get it coming back. And we just
Well,
don't
one
know
of-
that answer right now.
Well, one of the things that
Well, that's a good point, right?
reading
there.
through that contract very closely, though, it does indicate that if funding doesn't materialize the way commissioners have expected it to, that contract can be reduced or voided, actually. It gives us an out if that funding doesn't come
Oh.
through. So that contract is pretty explicit that if the funding doesn't materialize, we can exit the contract
Okay.
or
I still-
renegotiate the
I
contract.
still kind of like the idea of a percentage because if the argument could be made, if the funding doesn't come through, that they still get their amount, but we have to reduce highway, council and aging, and everybody else. So it'll be an interesting.
As far
Well, I
as-
think, I guess what I think we need to come to, and this may begin to be the rub, is if we negotiate a contract with ACEDC for economic development services for the coming year, maybe the coming 2-year period, I'm probably gonna advocate for no funding reduction, as long as we can tighten up the expectations and that we have as far as what goes on to the EDC. So that's gonna be the position that I'm gonna take.
So the only change might actually be lowering sewer district a little bit, because I'm guessing you still want to help council on aging with the 100,000. And NERC, I think, NERC is not
Actually
that
given
much.
almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much is NERC? 12,000?
6582.
Okay, so NERC is not that much.
Hospital's pretty well cut and dried on the
Hospital will be
the,
done at the end of 28.
Right.
That is gonna be paid off at the
That'll
end of
go away.
So
28.
yeah, but still, we gotta have it in a 2-year plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens with that, when the hospital bond is paid off and 0.2 of CEDAT was going to that, Mark's gonna have to answer the question as to what needs to happen.
Right.
Because the cities had all agreed to pay a share of that as well. So when that goes away, I don't know if the 0.2 remains inside CEDAT to give Chip and Seal more money from highway department,
Yeah.
or how, I don't know if it goes away.
I know council wants voice in that, so I don't
Yeah.
know what their,
And that's a discussion 2 years down the road.
And that's not really a bond, that's the
Yeah.
hospital bond, not ours.
Our discussion today is probably to include the hospital 0.2%.
Yeah, and you will for the next 2 years.
For the next 2 years. So I
Yeah.
hate to be premature on that, but I guess my thing is, we're kind of waiting on a decision to see what kind of accountability we can get from the Economic Development Corporation, and that board is waiting on us and our funding decisions to decide what they can do as far as
Well,
personnel.
I guess, you know, if I could ask this of you guys, I'd like to know what message you want me to deliver to the Economic Development Board. You know, if, I would appreciate, but I'm only one of three. If I could deliver the message that if we can come to an agreement on a contractual relationship with appropriate accountability measures built in, that we would continue on with the same level of funding that we've had.
194.
Yeah, or whatever the
Give or
percent.
take.
whatever the
And the
percentage
other
is.
thing that we've asked for is a results-based approach. You know, and that's something that's been difficult to quantify, is what are we getting for our money?
It
And
is.
it's real difficult to pull that out of thin air. But it's also difficult to put that much money towards a corporation without seeing
Yeah.
what it's doing.
And if I
So
don't,
that's what I would look for,
Maybe-
is some
yeah.
kind of results-based.
maybe don't quote me on this, but
Yeah.
if I can pull some context out of the agreement that I'm going to be taking to the executive team at noon today, it speaks to quarterly reporting to the commissioners. It speaks to an annual summary report presented in person by the director. And it speaks to meeting the goals and expectations set up in an appendix. That appendix obviously has got to be crafted so that it meets Adams County's expectations.
Yeah,
But the appendix that I have is the one that Allen County used, and it was somewhat specific, but my hope is to use it as kind of a guideline in developing the reporting criteria for Adams County's relationship. So that's,
is there any way to quantify what we've gotten over the last several years?
I don't know.
I would rather see, look at a simple example. If one of the major goals of economic development in Adams County is the retention of existing businesses.
Mhm.
You know, a simple ledger of, I visited this, here's the businesses I visited and offered them an opportunity to take advantage of our service.
Okay.
You know, then it shows they're out there. Who did you talk to? When? You know, or if they have businesses approaching them, document it.
And I think that's exactly what is in kind of that Allen County agreement, is
Okay.
that kind of accountability.
Yeah, I mean, if they can document on paper what's going on, then we got something to look at.
Yeah. But I guess again, the message that I'll take back to the group is that if we want to continue the funding that the commissioners are providing to the ACEDC, that we have to have a more structured arrangement.
Yeah, right.
Is that fair?
Yeah, and let them figure it out.
And you have
Yeah.
some time to get this, since we're gonna operate on 26 the way we were on 25.
Right. We
Sometime
don't
by the
know,
end.
we
of
don't
the-
know the dollar figure.
Sometime by the end of the year, you'd have to direct Mark or Clayton.
As far as regional sewer, I mean, if we're at 50 now and we're talking about reduction, you know, without just throwing out a number, well, we're gonna reduce it to 40. Would the director have some data that we could base our reduction on? Or who would have that data? I mean, if it's pretty well self-sustaining, you know,
I bet.
why are we continuing reducing when we may not just use it
I
somewhere
bet
else?
Nate could bring us some pretty hard data on it.
And Nathan, if you offer that, Nathan's always gonna say that he can use it.
Well, of course,
I mean, anybody would,
yeah.
but the fact of being self-sufficient is what Steve, when he was secretary, you were secretary, right? Or treasurer?
Treasurer.
Treasurer of the sewer district.
You knew where it was.
He kind of has some knowledge of that, so he would know what Nathan would
Well,
bring
before we
forward.
make a decision on the rural sewer district, I'd like to have Nate
Hear
bring
from
in
Nathan.
some,
Okay,
Well, and I've always supported the rural sewer district for two reasons. One, it keeps from septage getting to the river and the streams and everything else. It eliminates bad systems, bad septic systems, bad collection systems, whatever. But the other reason I've always supported it is economic development.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of homes and stuff that's remained functional or become functional properties because of the sewer district, so.
Well, I just want some data
Those
versus
two
just throwing
reasons,
out a
yeah.
number.
we can get that.
That originally was to pay for a position.
And that position was actually supported, some work that was done out at the jail periodically. When Barry was in that role, he checked the pumps and tested pumps out at the jail and was kind of out at the jail and backed up Mark Wynn. And, but I don't know that any of that is continuing on, they've just kind of grown too big and are beyond being able to do that kind of work for
Well,
us.
it appears to me by just looking at at our 26, you know, the Council on Aging, Hospital, Transportation, Highway, NERC, Economic Development, looks like we're willing to at least go those figures, except for Regional Sewer District, we don't know how much, we don't have a good handle on it.
Well, and again, let me bring you guys, some more, some more context as to what the EDC is willing to do
Right.
before I'm not gonna commit to them anything, but the message I'm taking is we need more accountability.
If we're going to, award the same amount of
Continue
funds.
funding.
The fact is, they are their own entity. They can do what they want.
They are,
However, if they want
absolutely.
funding from the commissioners and from the county, then,
Yeah.
you know, they've gotta,
Yeah.
they don't have to they can say, well, we don't want your funding.
Well, and what makes it
I don't think they're
tough
going to, but I mean.
for us and them both is just, there's just a lot of transition here with
You know,
personnel and the
as far as
contract.
Council on Aging is concerned, I talked to Stan earlier before you came in, Steve. You know, they've got a lever that they can always use. You know, if I would like to see the fees coming closer, the fees collected coming closer to the expenses. Now, you know, I don't know how you put a handle on, you know, I don't know how, you know, someone that needs transportation to get groceries or medical assistance. Well, you know, I have no problem with those. I have no problem with those kind of transportation. And I was looking at the numbers of Council on Aging, which has increased drastically, but the numbers that are increasing is in the well-being.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have a hard time justifying picking someone up, going visiting a relative for 2 hours, and then coming back, picking them up, and taking them back home. I don't have any problem doing that if the fees they're charging balances out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if we can
I
justify.
think that's a whole interesting discussion. I don't know
Yeah.
where we're at on that, but,
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's something we need to look at versus just throwing bucks out there. So
The other thing to understand too with Council on Aging is that is by far their biggest endeavor, but they do other things
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know, with all the programs for seniors and
Right,
it's
you're right.
it's a pretty
It's not
valuable
just
And
organization.
this funding level probably has not changed a lot, even with the introduction of the transit
Yeah,
system had this,
yeah.
because we helped build the building out there. But really, as far as the transit system, the acquisition of the transit vans and the things to get that going, that all came from state and federal funding.
Right, which happened during my absence. I
Yes.
wasn't aware of it.
Yep. So,
Yeah,
good discussion though.
Yeah.
I think,
Well, we need to take a look
I
at
think we're
it.
pretty good. Let me bring some stuff back to you
Yeah,
from
you
the
take a look at it.
EDC and see where we can
well,
get there.
and if we talk to Nate and get some data from
Talk
sewer
to these
district.
mares back.
Speaking of
There he
the,
is.
I would say,
Yeah.
speaking of the devil,
You're
there
right,
he is.
buddy.
What can I help you with?
Nate, one of the things that we're working on is we're looking at our, seeded allocation for 2027, 2028.
Okay.
And if you recall, you get a small $50,000 stipend out of that.
Yep.
We reduced that from 60 to 50, I think, at our last look at this.
Yep.
We're talking about, can we reduce that further? But the question came, we would like to, instead of just shooting in the dark, we would like you to help us understand kind of your financial picture and where you're at, and if that is still critical to you, or if we can take that money and allocate it to some other more needy unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So if we could ask you maybe at some point to help us understand that in the future. I know you're not prepared for that today, but
Yeah, I
The,
can,
the other thing isn't necessarily strictly financial, is the economic development impact.
Yeah.
That brings.
well, I can tell you one of the things that, just sitting on the Economic Development Board, one of the things that from an economic development perspective in the regional sewer district, there are some properties throughout the county that are kind of being considered for potential economic development, either housing or even commercial industrial. And if the sewer district has a line that is close or runs through that property, it gets a higher rating from these rating agencies. So I think even from that perspective,
Sure.
just from the potential economic development perspective, it is very valuable when we have sewer lines that are out in the county that are available when we're looking at potential economic development projects.
And just to, I mean, we made this public at our meeting last week too, but the PPL for SRF funding came out two weeks ago or something. And we don't have anything ready for a project, but we do have 7 areas that are that were given to us by the health department back before this project 6. So we graded very high. We are number 2 on the list.
Yeah, PPL is the project list for SRF. Yeah.
So we have an opportunity to get funding. They take the top 10 and there's $150 million there that they disperse. Now, if somebody doesn't take it, they just keep going down the list, but we have been granted number 2 on that list. So funding is very likely.
What's the match on that?
It just depends on once we submit like the areas that we're going to and what the total amount was, but we placed in 9.2 million is what we requested originally. Now, once we get the project areas that we are going to maybe pursue, that number could go down, and then they will go through and see what kind of grant money we can get. So.
Right, but I'm saying, what's our match on, say,
We don't really have, it's not structured like that. It's,
Okay.
it's either, correct me now, it's either grants or loans.
Yes,
Grant would not need to be repaid.
yes.
Loan would need to be, would need to set up a repayment structure, but there's not really a match associated with the way
I
they
see.
fund those projects.
So just for instance, the project 6 that we're doing right now, we got $5 million in grant money. We took out a $1.1 million loan. So we can't do these projects without that big grant funding side of things. We wouldn't know until we submit on the project areas that we're looking at doing to determine how much grant money we would get.
So, I think what we need to do is look at 27, 28 CEDA plan and set a date down the road when we want to address it.
I agree.
Otherwise, we just keep kicking
Yeah,
the can.
yeah,
and talking.
I don't want to let it slide again this
No.
year.
Yeah, we could
So
actually
let's-
talk for hours and hours and hours.
Right,
about this.
and do
So-
nothing.
So I think from an EDC standpoint, I'll be ready to give you guys what you're looking for, certainly by the first part of August.
okay.
And then we'll just have to give it Clayton or Mark to draw up the ordinance for it, and
Nate, could you get us an idea? Right now it's at 50. Could you get us
Again, help us understand how important that is in your
Yes.
world. Your world has gotten so much bigger than it was when your dad ran things, and $60,000 was a lot of money back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Your world is totally different now.
Yeah, we're setting at a lot right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
About 57.
well,
million.
let's, are you saying by August first.
Sometime in August, let's look
plan
at,
together.
let's look at this again in August. If you
Well,
could help,
yeah.
help me
I can
remember
go ahead and
that,
put it
Tony.
on the, first week's agenda in August. We can go ahead and get that
Right,
on there.
let's try to have our ducks in a row so we can make some hardcore decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, and we can, you know, with the sewer district, I'm sure we can get some data and get some numbers to you here within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Good,
Okay,
good
I
deal.
know sewer district raised rates for the first time ever this
Right.
year and actually put into place a multi-year increase.
And I-
Just because those margins are getting tighter.
And I know there was a lot of, research and financial analysis went into those sewer rates, so.
Yep.
If you can just help us understand a little bit where you're at from a financial picture and.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and also, just tack one more idea on the CETA thing. We can be thinking ahead for the end of 28 of what gonna happen to the hospital CETA.
Yeah, and I'll find out.
Thinking about it, don't
We-
have to make a decision.
We need to find out the exact timing
Yeah,
and how that's gonna, the
Yeah.
mechanics of it.
Good, good deal.
okay, thanks.
Okay, we've got.
Kara's here and Mark's here.
Yeah, Kara's here. Kara, come on up.
And I actually asked Kara to come. She's got money budgeted for this trailer, but it's more than 2,500, so I figured the commission
Thank you.
probably need to take action on it.
Thanks, Kara.
I don't know if I was right or wrong, Mark, but
What's that?
if it's a $10,000 trailer, but it's in their budget, she would still need to come and seek permission from the commissioners if it's that amount, right?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
Over 5,000, I
Yeah, I
think, you have to
think-
get.
I just wanted to be better safe than sorry to have you come, so.
Yeah, park board's just a little weird because I have to present things to the park board and it just depends on what the park board approves and what I have to bring here. And so I approved the things to the park board first and then I'll come here, afterwards. So
Is this replacing another trailer?
this is not replacing another trailer. Our county parks board does not have a trailer that can carry, so in the parks department, county and city share equipment back and forth.
Sure.
So we have a trailer that we use, the county has one, the city has one that can carry the lawnmowers and stuff. Within the city, we have a tool cat and a John Deere, well, we can drive those within city limits. To get them out to the county, we would need a trailer. We do not have a trailer that will take that. So, about 2 months ago, we were talking about putting some horse ties up at Lynn Grove. We haven't been able to do that yet because we don't have a trailer to take our tool cat, our equipment out there without borrowing it. And it's just been so busy in the summertime with all the street projects, I mean, everything, that there's no way to get it out there until the winter time. So it just makes sense that we have a trailer that can take a lot of the big equipment out to the parks that we need to. And so if the county, could purchase this trailer for the Parks Department to use to go out to the county parks when we have things that we need to take the tool cat with a John Deere tractor or things, anything bigger than a lawnmower would be very helpful. Sure. So, I did quote it from, Indiana Trailer Sales, gave me a quote, $10,108, is what it'll cost. I put my budget on there, so you can see where my equipment budget, where I'm at right now. I haven't spent anything out of my equipment budget yet. I've got 15,000, in, one fund and then 16 in the other.
And your boards approved this.
The board did approve to move forward with.
Sorry, I should know that if I just in your
Yes.
meetings. I'm sorry, I
No, that's fine. That's
apologize.
okay. Yes, I did talk to the board about this, at our last Monday meeting, and they did say it makes sense to.
Okay, Tony review of me, might have missed it. If she has a board that's approved it and she has in her budget, why is she here?
Because commissioners approve
Purchasing
purchasing policy.
policy says
Commissioners
yes.
approve anything over 5,000, I believe it is.
Oh, I get it, okay.
And if it was under 5,000, she would, as a
She wouldn't have to
department
pay.
head,
Okay,
she would,
so no
it's
5,000.
under her authority.
I personally don't have a problem with it.
If the board says we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. It's got electric brakes. Do we have trucks with the electric brakes?
We do, we have
System.
trucks that can pull this, yes, I've asked to make sure.
The interesting thing is our relationship with the city is just so convoluted that it's like, how do we unwind and how do we, I, God bless you for trying to figure out how to navigate through that deal. So
Yes.
Whenever you figure it out, let me know.
Listen, city policies and county policies are so different.
Yeah.
And the park department is so webbed together. Even our staff is webbed together.
Mhm.
It's been interesting. I'm trying to unweb some things.
Good luck with
Um, And we're moving forward on unwebbing some things here and there, but I think
Good
that
deal.
this is part of that too. I mean, when we have equipment, we need to.
Well, to make it simple today, I move that we, permit the purchase of the trailer.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay.
Do we need to
Motion
sign
passes.
this agreement?
I wouldn't think so.
No,
It just says buyer
don't have to.
signature, so I
I'll,
think that's
I'll,
just me.
yeah,
Yeah.
all she needs.
She just needed the
So,
commissioners to approve it since it's over 5,000.
As you're unwinding those things and trying to figure out how all this fits together, with a fresh set of eyes, when you come across things that make no sense, raise the red flag and let's figure out if there's a better way,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, we already did that on our cash policy, so that's been
Yes.
helpful.
Yeah.
So move forward on that and.
Good luck.
Good deal.
No, one month at a time. That's what we're going with.
Man, I was on council 10 years and 6 years as commissioner, and it's still like the mystery to me is.
Yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Kara.
nothing's more frustrating than to have some very useful pieces of equipment that you can't move around
Yeah,
Right.
when you wanna move them.
Right.
And so just from an efficiency standpoint, it makes a lot of
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
right. Mark, come on up, buddy. Thank you.
Mark,
We're good.
good.
Busy. Which is good. This is,
Yeah. Thank you.
two pager only because this gentleman's from Michigan. Oh. Yeah, figure out how to, so you'll see the drawing here and I'll have you find that. Where's this? 900 north, 600 east. This is 900 north, and they have taken this single lot.
They have access back to this one? I guess, yeah.
Right through here.
Right, that, well, that's fair enough. Complicated. Split that,
Doesn't look
split that.
like they normally look.
No, normally you go along the edge somewhere.
But yeah, they're coming right up around it.
Actually
through it.
building a
So-
lane back through there. I think.
So
They're gonna,
is that an easement or is that a?
yes,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, no, it looks. Like I said.
Okay, so now,
It's a-
now,
it's just
okay,
a-
so we got lot one, lot two today.
Yep.
If they wanted to split this one in the future, could they do it?
So there's only two at this point, so you're allowed three on a minor. They could split it without rezoning,
Number two,
and yeah, or number one.
or number one, but either split in the future, one more, then that's it for
That's
the
it,
whole
that's it
nine.
for the minor. You could always major it,
Right.
then you're rezoning,
rezoning, okay,
making it R1 or whatever.
I move, we approve.
Second.
Okay, motion passes.
All right.
Has there ever, Mark, been a denial, something like this?
Where do we sign?
Not if it meets the rule.
I was gonna say, it's automatic.
I don't wanna bring them here if they don't meet the rules.
That's right.
So,
Oh, none of them.
yeah,
This is the
if I do bring one, it doesn't meet the rules.
page two of the same
Oh,
thing.
I see, it's a two pager.
Then I fail.
Yeah.
Come to my office, we try and grade them right, and it goes through a subcommittee.
That's right.
And design committee, and they look it over.
And
then
there
it
is
comes here.
levels, that's right, okay.
Stand right back.
No problem, put it on the side.
To make sure, guys, job easy, you just gotta find your name.
That's right. Keep it easy.
What roads are here, Mark?
50 south.
Oh, this is
So
Monroe.
this is just outside of Monroe.
Oh, in Monroe.
Yeah.
When you come in, I think how this goes. So when you're coming in 50 and then Adams Street.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a
This is
turn
right here,
On the
this
east
corner
side.
right here, it's this
Yeah,
right here,
there.
the curve.
There's a, yeah, right there. This is the curve. And then this is the long lane that goes back to multiple buildings back here.
Right.
And they're actually taking now just one single lot.
19 acres. 110.
So they're coming back this lane. And then this one lot, they're turned into three. They've got this easement to get to all three of them.
What is that zone back there?
That's all I got.
I always wondered how they got away with the manufacturing that they do back there with the ag zoning.
We're dealing with that.
Okay.
Because that just happened. Didn't
I
Didn't
know,
go
it
through a
evolved.
process.
It
Yes.
evolved.
yes.
I.
Because we have an actual trust building company that did it right
Yeah.
on 250 south.
Yeah.
On the west side of the road. I just learned they're actually building a trust.
Let me see that. Man. Where's the old railroad track on this? Right there. So it's over here.
Yes, it's over. Sorry. This blue stripe is. What that is right there.
Mhm. Okay. They're gonna have their easement back to the lot 3.
Yep.
Somewhere to get back to it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead. So,
Motion to approve the Becker
second.
subdivision.
Okay, motion passes. Motion by Stan, seconded by Doug.
One. I got one over there for you to sign them too.
Stan, you need to sign that.
That's right there.
Okay.
That's what we need. Is this the road here?
It's
Those
right,
roads are
it's
actually
right
here.
here. This is the lane back to this trust manufacturing company. Manufacturing right here.
Is this a private lane?
Yes. This is 50.
Yeah.
This is Adams Street. Coming to the back side of Monroe.
Oh, coming into Monroe. I see.
Yeah, like the next road over is 27.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So they own property here?
It's just this property that we're dealing with, but they have the easement. That goes across this.
Oh, is it recorded? Oh, yeah, here it is. Ingress, egress easement. So that's recorded.
That's a 60-foot we need.
And then they have another one that gets back to here, I
It goes
guess.
back here. Yeah, that's good. You want to see it right on the plat.
Yeah.
And there it is. Let's go.
No buildings back there.
I mean, the 60 feet's in addition to what was
Stan,
already
you
there.
sign that one too.
Yep.
This, for this guy. This guy has his own easement. Then they did another 60 feet off of that.
Okay, good.
That's why there's 3 lines there. Village.
It's an issue there. That they're eventually transferring to their ownership.
South Salem Road. An auction a while back, I'm not sure when it was. So in Salem itself, this homeowner owned all this. They went to auction and it got divided out into this piece, which is left for the house, and this piece, which
There's 2 lots.
is a lot now. Yeah, it's just 2.
And they can subdivide this again, right?
There still could be a 3rd lot before you go major.
So these put these together. Wow.
What's that?
There are 3 numbers here. You got 3 numbers. 5.8.
Yeah, we started at the 5.8.
Oh, I see that. I see. Okay, 3.
One is now 2,
Do it. Now I see.
3 up.
Yep.
And they actually split this long section right down the middle, kind of.
Yeah, right there.
Huh.
That way they keep, that's the
Access.
road access.
Sure. Good.
To get to here.
Move that we accept.
Second. Motion passes. Motion by Doug, seconded by Stan.
That is all I got.
That's enough.
Yes. The other day I was thinking about something I wanted to tell you guys, because people are asking me, they're like, it seems like we're dividing a lot of property. And when I first started, we used to have a thing where you had two sell-offs before you had to go to a minor. Well, if two sell-offs happened, you would have at the end of it, 3 lots. What you started with, and then the 2 you sold off. And that would all happen without ever seeing you.
Yeah.
Now that we divide using the subdivision method that we have now, everything that gets
We see all
divided,
of them.
you see.
Yeah.
And it gets in the paper and people read it. So I think there's a perception
It feels like.
that it's more, but I think it's actually less, but it feels more because you hear about it. You didn't know it before. It just happened.
Yeah,
That's one part.
been communicated.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Nate, you still have your documents up there.
Those 2 guys are here for
We're still waiting on Dave, right? Okay, so we're not quite ready for the Justice Center update. Mark, what have you got for us from the attorney's chair?
I think we got an ordinance here, to adopt based upon the hearing. This is the ordinance to vacate that portion of 1100 South, including, the bridge there by Red Gold. And it also, I talked to Clayton about this yesterday. You want to cover this, Clayton? I think I looked over the ordinance. It looks good.
Sure.
If you want to cover that with them, and I think it's ready for adoption.
Yeah, so as you all know, we had the public hearing last week for the vacation of the public way being portion of the roadway as well as Bridge 163. As I indicated, the portion of the roadway, was west 1100 South here in Adams County. We had the public hearing. You then all during regular meeting approved of the vacation. And as I indicated during that meeting, I bring ordinance for adoption, codifying that approval. So this would be short titled ordinance number 2026-7, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners, Adams County, Indiana, vacating a portion of a public way, including bridge number 163 and the associated portion of west 1100 South.
Did we leave that with any questions after the hearing? It seems like there was something that we talked about, or were we good?
I don't think any questions in relation to this ordinance adoption itself. The one
Okay.
question, and I have worked with Nate since, is we did obtain the legal descriptions for those 2 very small pieces of property
That's
that
what it was,
remain in the
yeah.
county's name. And as the Red Gold representative indicated, while he was here, how I think we were going to structure that was to simply write up some quick claim deeds from the county to Red Gold in exchange for now, right of access across Red Gold's property to the loblolly, given the surveyor's concerns about getting in at that exact spot.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Good?
So we need a motion then to
I would just ask for a
Need to
motion
adopt
for
the
adoption
ordinance.
of ordinance 2026-7.
move that we, approve the, ordinance 2026-7.
Correct.
Second.
Okay, motion passes. Done. Long process.
Long process.
I was gonna say, how long have you been working on that since we even started talking?
Been a little over a year.
It's a little over a year, and I think the
Yeah.
harder part, I think Nate would agree, was that originally we thought we could kind of just get it done with some informal agreements, but then kind of communication broke down, so then we had to go through the formal process, but I think the formal process went relatively quickly. Yep.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mark?
No, that's it for now.
Of course, want to express our sympathies, Mark. I know it's been a
Yeah,
tough couple of weeks for you.
I appreciate that.
Worked with your dad and your dad's worked with all of us over the years and a great public servant and we'll miss him and I know it's been tough on you and the family. So my thoughts have been with you and your family.
Appreciate it very much.
Period of time.
ditto Steve's remarks.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Clayton, you don't have anything else for us?
I'm not, unless you all have any specific questions on anything.
Good.
send a copy of this over to you guys to this ordinance.
Yep.
Shannon, what have you got for us this morning?
I do not have anything today, but thank you.
Steve, I do have something real quick.
Okay, come on up, Sheriff.
Just announcements, for you gentlemen, for the county and for the news. With a heavy heart, I have to announce a retirement. William Bill Grimm is retiring after 38 years of service for our county. He started as a dispatcher, was a reservist, and moved his way up through and all the way to become our communications director. And today is his last day. We are having an open house for him over at the jail tomorrow from 11 to 1. It's a big shoes to fill, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, a lot of knowing people who to call when we need to call. So it's a big loss for us, but 38 years, he's deserved it. And he gave me a call a little while ago and said, hey, I'm meeting with my birth people. If it happens, I'll be giving you 2 weeks. I say, oh.
Yeah.
And he's done well planning so he can retire and live the lake life. So I just want to let everybody know he's gonna be missed and his experience is gonna be invaluable and his commitment to our community has been extremely high.
Yeah.
So you have a plan for replacement?
Yeah, our assistant director now, Dawn Grimm, she's gonna be moving up and then we're gonna be doing interviews from within to replace her as assistant director. And we knew this has been coming. I thought I'd be able to get him out through the end of the year, but he pulled a fast one on me. But it's greatly deserved for him.
Good.
Good.
I just want to let everybody know that.
Certainly,
Yeah,
certainly wish him well. And
As a backup medic, as an EMT.
He's done that. He was fireman for the Burn Fire Department. He was a county reserve but his full-time for 38 years have been communications.
Yeah.
So thank you.
He will be missed, I'm sure.
thanks, Sheriff.
His last day today.
Today.
I enjoyed working with Bill for many years. So he was
Did you
very.
tell him he could work from the lake?
I have mentioned some things.
Yeah, Eric, I don't have a paper copy, but I'll make a copy for you. Here, it's always a bunch of papers.
Should be. Right in this folder. You went to 2016?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's the last 3 years.
Yeah.
That's the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
don't get that. Gotcha.
Hey, Sheriff,
Yes.
was Bill administrator when you rebuilt the new jail?
Yeah, he was the director at that time, right?
Cause he moved from the old jail to the new jail,
Correct.
yeah, and saw that change and, yeah. And then going to the new software from, yeah,
Then about the new CAD, yes. And then I think Melissa was Dawn was, I think over 18 years, so she's capable. So we're gonna keep moving forward.
Good. Good
should we
deal.
ask Bill who his favorite sheriff was that he worked with?
Oh, he'll tell you, me.
You guys all set up here. You guys need technology, you need plug in, display anything? Yeah, I can. Good. Get you a cord with a USB on it. Yeah. That's how quick they go. We've got as you guys know, we regularly do a Justice Center update at this point in the agenda. Just to set the stage a little bit, as you're aware, we've been working on an option that would put Superior Court into the old courthouse. That would displace prosecutor's office and the clerk's office. And thought was that we would go across Third Street and construct a new Justice Center Annex across Third Street that would house prosecutor clerk. In addition to that, it would house community corrections and probation, and it would house the public defender. So we've had a team working on looking at that as an option. We've met multiple times with department heads, looking at layouts and how that might work. Some kind of, as you're aware, some pretty creative thinking on the way, on behalf of all of our department heads, being willing to kind of give up maybe some nice to haves in order to make this project feasible. And so at this point, we've got Dave Scholl and his team here from Elevatus. We've got a group here from Garmong who actually did the project cost. What's the right word here? It's not an estimate. Cost opinion for us. And so at this point, Dave and Maya, if you guys want to take it away.
Steve, do we have the Garmin and Dave's team?
Sure.
Introduction,
You guys
please.
want to come on up? You want to join them up here at the table, or you just want to make?
How about we take our turn so we don't overcrowd?
Okay,
the table?
I just need names.
Very good.
So my name is Jake Waggle. I'm with Garmon.
Okay,
And Justin Bush, Garmon as well.
I'm sorry,
The
vice president of
Garmin, okay, thank you. And Dave, your team?
I'm Dave Scholl, architect with
Right.
Elevatus.
Young man back of just intern learning.
Logan Keen, yeah, intern at Elevatus.
Great, great. And ma'am,
Maya Gullett.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Morning, Commissioners.
Dave, good morning.
So we're gonna show you, and we're not gonna go through detail, but, because there's a lot of details to work out, this is just a study, but we have developed this floor plan for the new building, and then we'll show you the courthouse, where the new Superior Court would go. So this is the new footprint of the new building across Third Street. You can see the property lines in yellow there. It just fits. Again, there's a lot of details to work out. So we've got an entrance there to the south. That's pretty much across from the courthouse. Doesn't quite line up. It could if you know, we had other property, but it's a little bit off center from the courthouse. But
So at the bottom of the screen is Third Street, correct?
yes, and then the courthouse is that. So you're entering into a lobby, a public lobby with a lot of seating, and restrooms for the public. In the purple area at the top right is the clerk, all the spaces that she needs. In the yellow at the back is the public defender. The other spaces are common meeting spaces that the departments, either the clerk or the public defender or the departments on the second floor can use. So instead of giving every department their own conference room and meeting rooms and having a lot of redundancy, this was developed to have common meeting areas that anybody can use. They just have to do some scheduling to use it when they need to. So that's what all the white is on the left. We've got a large conference room for 20 people, 3 smaller conference rooms and a little bit bigger one. And then we've got 2 more above that. So we've got a total of 6 smaller conference rooms of various sizes, and then the one for 20 people. And the bottom one is the classroom, and that can be used by community corrections, probation, or other functions, like for jury pool or that kind of thing. Yeah, so it's a pretty simple layout. There would be security at the entrance, right there. And we've got some waiting just to the right of that for the prosecutor, waiting area before they might go upstairs, if they have to go upstairs. So, yeah, there's mechanical space at the very back. And we're showing some elevators, 1 elevator now, right there. And then we will build the shaft for a future second elevator. And then we've got 2 stairs as means of egress to get out of the building. So on the left-hand side, between the edge of the building and what is now Superior Court, we could probably get about 10 parking spaces. So we could pick up that for additional 10 parking spaces on this particular site.
Maybe be able to squeeze a few more in there, but we'd have to look it out, and see how that might work. Next shot, this is the second floor. And it covers completely the first floor, except there's some roof to the top. And I think Jake's gonna talk about that, pricing that to potentially shell it for future space, but right now it's just roof. So we can talk about that as an alternate. But in the green on the right side is the prosecutor's office. The pinker color in the middle is community corrections, and the blue on the left is probation. And again, they share some spaces too. Long-term thinking that those two departments statewide may be merging into one. So they're next to each other and sharing spaces to make it, again, an efficient floor plan. I'm not gonna go through every space on there, but we've met with every department head and gone through these, and the counts are correct as far as what they need today and what they may need in the future. So it accommodates all of that. But again, there's lots of details to go through before it becomes a real project. But this conceptually is the size of the building. Yeah, Jake's gonna give you a number for that.
Is this one elevator or two?
We're showing one to go in now and a shaft to put in a future one. So again, that's flexible. If you want to add another one now, then the cost estimate would reflect that. But I think right now it's just got the one existing and then a shaft for a second one.
Where would be the location of the one elevator?
Right here.
Right there.
Right there.
The
Okay.
future one's to the right of that. Right across from a stair.
Okay.
And the next we'll show you is the circuit or the courthouse. Again, we worked with Judge Conrad and Judge Kugelhahn and all of you to come up with this plan. Judge Conrad was very willing to work with you to make this work, and I think it works very well, and I think he's happy with it too. It lets us use the courthouse like it's meant to be used as a courthouse.
So the bottom of the drawing is Madison Street or to the north.
Yeah, Second Street is.
Third Street will be on the left.
Yeah, Third Street to the left, Second Street to the right.
Yeah. So right now,
What we're looking at here is just floor one, right?
this is just floor one. We'll show you the basement too. There's a little bit of work in the basement, but so to the left, again on Third Street was the current entrance, stairs, and ramps up into the building. We'll keep that, but that will be locked. And the new public entrance will now be on the right side on Second Street. The ramp doesn't show, but we'll build a nice ramp to complement the architecture of the building. Ramps and steps to get up to the level of the first floor. You'll come in through that vestibule, and the security checkpoint will be right there as you enter. And then the office for the security officer would be right there in that, next to that security checkpoint. Then you've got the existing elevator and the stairs, which we'll keep. We're not going to do anything with those two. And that whole corridor back to the wall to the left is secure. So that's as far, that wall across the corridor is new. And that's to secure the left half of the plan from the public. So that would all be judicial space where the judge and his staff can move freely and be secure. And to the right is the public lobby where people can sit and wait for court. Where Maya's pointing right now, that's, again, that could be anything. It could be court waiting. They could have jury pools waiting in there. It could be used for a meeting room, but it could serve a lot of purposes.
Would the public have access to those restrooms on the first floor?
Yes, those are two public restrooms.
Okay.
And then to the right is a consultation space for if an attorney wants to meet with a client, they can meet in there. Yeah, so that's all, and it lays out very well with existing walls. We're not having to remove many walls, more in the probation office, but they're mainly stud and chipboard, so it's not difficult demolition. We're trying to keep as many of the openings in the corridor as possible because those walls are thick and the doors are ornate. So we're keeping those. Unfortunately, we went in the attic and found two doors from the original construction that we can reuse in new openings down here. So that's a good thing. So, so to the south on the plan is the courtroom. So you've got the seating to the right. And then you've got, in the back, we've got, another consultation space where an attorney can meet with a client. You've got the bar, and then you've got the judge's, bench at the front and all the layout, involved in the court. So this courtroom is about 2 feet narrow, no, 2 feet wider than his existing courtroom. But it works good. Everything fits in here well. You'll have a high ceiling like you should have in a courtroom, which is good. We're able to keep all the windows. We're showing ramps to the various positions, especially to the judge's bench for ADA. So in the event when Judge Conrad is gone, you get somebody that's disabled as a judge, they can ramp up to the height of the bench. That can be built later or can be built now. It's up to you and the decision that we make down the road as to when that's built, but we do have to provide for ADA access to that bench. Behind that is the judge's chambers in the corner right there. Nice big office for Judge Conrad. And then he has access across the hall, going through a door over to his toilet room right there. And then the IT room is that little room in the corner that's existing. We're just going to keep that. And then over to the right would be all the staff. So we're showing 4 cubicles for clerks and staff and so on, administrative assistant. And in the back room or back corner is a break room for all of the judge's staff. So we're able to keep all the windows and maintain the integrity of the architecture of the building very well. I'm really happy with the layout and how it's come along. Any questions before we go to the basement?
The existing old stairway is gone on the west side of the building, first floor. The little spiral stairway that goes up.
Keeping that.
You mean that one?
No, the other one.
The other
down,
one?
The one at the back.
one at the back.
It stays also.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that. That's,
That stairway stays?
yeah, well, for now, I mean, we can talk about that, but,
Well, why keep that stairway if it's in a secured area? I don't know.
Well, you have to have 2 forms of egress from the second floor, I'm sure.
And that takes you up to the back of the circuit court upstairs, right?
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
in the secure area.
yeah, as long as that structure at one time was deemed more or less unsafe.
Well, yeah, our structural engineer did an analysis about a year ago on this building. And that was the one thing that needs to be remedied is that stairwell, because the treads are sloping away from the wall.
Yeah.
Needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah, so it's gonna stay, but it's gonna get rebuilt.
Jake says there's some money in the budget to fix that.
Yes, the current plan is to remediate it and leave it in place. Again, as
Right.
Okay.
Designed it, other decisions could be made.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important to say that this layout, we drove forward with this so we could get a cost. What's the right word again? Opinion. I gotta write that down. A cost opinion. But I think there's a lot of fine tuning. One of the things that from a accommodations perspective, we were utilizing a lot of cubicle space, which is very flexible, which we can make changes in easily, both in this building, but primarily over in the new building, almost all cubicle space, a lot of shared common space. This does give some nice break rooms, appropriate restrooms. But I think the key in order to keep this from a financial perspective, keep this affordable is kind of that rethinking of the whole space utilization and how the space is constructed. But it also gives us a lot of flexibility when we're doing that. And I know Dave and his team and the Gamong team have really thought through that whole, how the space is shared, how it's used. I know the department heads are very much on board with utilizing those shared spaces and making those work for us in the future. Sheriff, you had a comment?
The security screen point. Are you sure that's gonna fit that hallway width right outside the elevator? And that's gonna be the egress and exit for people coming in, waiting in line and having a screening location there? That's enough space? I need convincing of that.
Okay.
We can talk.
Yeah.
And then prisoner movement within that. We're still coming in the basement, going down, going to the elevator, then I'm mixing prisoner with public and.
Let's look at the basement floor plan before you ask that question, before you answer that question.
Okay.
So yeah, again, the stairs on the left-hand side. You're walking down a slight ramp right outside. You enter through down those steps. We're gonna create a separate room there. And then we're gonna create a new entrance, a new door right there. And from there, you would walk down the hallway into, if you're going to the holding cells, we're gonna create 2 holding cells right there. And then have a desk there for a staff officer. And then, yes, you would walk up the stairs or the elevator. And, yep. Go back to the first floor.
The stairs going down in the basement from ground level, you say stairs, we're removing that ramp that's there now?
No,
Okay,
we'll keep the ramp.
but you just showed stairs.
Yeah, I know, the ramp is on the left side of
Okay,
that.
so you're gonna have stairs and a ramp
Yeah, that ramp
to go
stay,
down.
that ramp and the stairs are existing.
There's no
Stay.
ramp to go down. There's just stairs down, right?
Well, it's sort of a ramp.
That,
Is
that-
there a
the
ramp with
stairs
like
go
2
to that.
steps? I think, isn't there like 2
I mean, it's a
steps
slight
above?
ramp down.
Yeah,
Okay.
it goes into, I think, it probably go into that new door we're talking about.
Yeah,
Right.
Correct,
exactly.
that is correct. I remember that these people are all shackled, so stairs are worse for us, ramps are better. All prisoners will be wearing leg shackles, so a normal step is what, 7?
7 inches.
And this is gonna be weird, but if we're gonna have to have steps, I'd almost prefer half steps. Because again, that's a fall hazard for us with everybody who's shackled. So the least amount of steps is best, with handling the prisoners. But then, yeah, I say the holding room just outside the elevator, and then like I said, we do now, we'll secure the elevator and then take it upstairs to get to the courtroom as need be. And you said that the other elevator shaft you're talking about, that was in the other building, correct? Okay, all right. But I would like to talk to you about that space of the security checkpoint right there in front of that elevator
Yeah.
and being the main door. That could get real tight real fast.
Yeah, no, we can do that.
Okay,
And we can also consider tearing out that slight ramp now on the outside there, making it 1 and 12. And reduce the number of steps. So there's things we can do.
okay.
There, while we're down in this area talking about prisoners, okay, when prisoners transported by auto to the site, is the prisoner unloaded on the, is there a parking spot or is there gonna be a?
Well, we'll do some kind of a pull-off designated just for the sheriff
Okay,
that would lead directly to that ramp and those steps.
okay, that's just one.
Because this being a remodel, you don't have to have that solid port. A new construction,
You'd have
that'd
that
be
one.
required. This is a remodel, so I believe it's not required.
Okay, but you're okay with a pull-off specific parking for sheriff vehicles?
Correct.
Okay.
Any questions on the plan before we turn it over to Jake?
And again, I think we've a lot of, there'll be some changes to this before we actually move forward.
Oh, yeah.
But this was so we could get to a cost opinion.
Right, now,
We had to lock something
nothing,
down.
nothing major to look at on the second floor at this point in time? construction line?
Really no work up.
Okay,
I can talk about the mechanical.
well, I would like to make sure, I wanna make sure that in this plan, we're addressing electrical, plumbing, heating, ventilation, and all of the stuff so that someone doesn't have to worry about 5 years from now, well, why did you do the electrical and make it right? I wanna make sure,
Yeah, that's all being redone.
okay?
The HVAC system, and originally we were gonna go with chillers and boilers. And then put air handling units in the attic. But it was discussed amongst the team that Tom Overly, who's our engineer, came up with, hey, why don't we, and he talked with Mr. Burkholder about this too. But that would have entailed our structural engineer analyzing the trusses up there, seeing if they could hold the weight. They probably would not have been able to, would have had to beef up the structure. So it was decided that we would replace the units that you have now with the same type of units. So the difference in lifespan is only about 5 years, 20 versus 25. But if you went with the boilers, the air handlers in the attic, you'd have to run major duct work through the circuit court down to the first floor and down to the basement, and then run bulkhead traverse on every floor. You'd have bulk duct work everywhere with bulkheads, and so this just seemed to make sense, a lot less expensive, and it works well now, so. That's about all I know about MEP. Okay, Jake, you're
Other
in.
questions?
ready.
Okay. The guys with the numbers.
So easy, right? Just plug her in. Worked. All right, so I wanna, you've really hit Steve well on where we're at in the process, but just for reference, I kind of want to look at it as you're getting ready to run a marathon on this project from start to finish, right? And you really haven't even started yet. You're kind of stretching, you're warming up, you're saying I'm gonna do a full marathon, not a mini marathon. So, you know, it's an opinion, it's a lot of great ideas from Elevatus. You know, the process will include a lot of design meetings to work out details on the on the security checkpoint, and, you know, full details in the MEP and how the ramps work and all of those things. So what we've done is taken, you know, kind of, we're 1-2% of the way through the process, and tried to conceptualize cost range of where those decisions could lead you at the end of the project. So very similar to what we did on the last, when we were looking at doing some work in this building, actually. So we broke that into 2 parts. They're conservatively estimated as running consecutively. So one would finish, one would start. You know, there's some efficiencies if they were both going at the same time from a labor market standpoint. And we'll start with the renovation of the courthouse. We've got a lot of detail that pulled this together and assumptions on, you know, repurposing ornate doors. And I know there's, you know, we're cutting up some sanitary lines in the basement that I think have been troublesome, new MEP systems. But what everybody always wants to flip down to the bottom. So what the bottom tells you is, and there, again, early in this stage, there's contingencies to account for things that are unknown and not thought of yet. But you're roughly on the courthouse side about just a little over 6 million in construction cost. We've also included cost for you to look at this as whole budget numbers. So there are design costs, you have permitting cost, you have code review cost, you have furniture, you have AV and technology, and we've lumped this all into one piece so you can operate with a full picture instead of part of the picture, and you get further down the road and realize, you know, you're not looking at everything complete. So we roughly think that all in for the courthouse project, you're in that $7.5 million range. On the new build, this is a little bit easier, but we've used some comparative cost data for similar type structures that we've seen here recently in today's market, and giving you a low, medium, and a high range. So a lot of those decisions are based on what the exterior facade looks like. Right now, you know, I would imagine this, you know, kind of the more conservative end to be some brick facade, maybe some metal panels and some siding. It's not full limestone veneer and, you know, 5 foot wide cornice pieces. Those could be added in. They have a cost associated with them. That's part of the process as you work through. So trying to have that mindset of, you know, being mindful of taxpayer dollars to build something like all the other counties we work with, something that's, you know, it's a good sturdy building, has a long lifespan, but is mindful of the dollars and where they're spent. So, you know, terrazzo floor is one that comes up. Things that the ornateness you would see in your current courthouse most likely wouldn't be in this building. But it would be very nice and it would be a very professional, good looking building. So in those ranges, all those decisions get made as you start running your laps in the marathon. We would anticipate that building fluctuating somewhere, again, all in, with your design cost and furniture and fixtures and, you know, AV and all the things you're going to put into it, roughly in the $12.5 to $15 million range. I know you look at that and say $2.5 million is a big spread. Again, that's part of the decisions, the process to where you get to an actual number. This is what the market tells me we're going to spend for the project we want. And there's
What would
checkpoints
be an
along the way.
example of floor finishes on low, medium and high?
So low end, Dave, help me, but I'm thinking that would be like an LVT as a new finish with the luxury vinyl plank tile, you know, carpet tile is very reasonable. Kind of the mid range would start to introduce some ceramic tiles and some porcelains. You know, high end, you're looking at maybe a little bit of terrazzo, you know, maybe some, you know, I don't know if it's granite or what kind of this area has, you know, from finishes in select areas. I don't think it's the whole building, but you could start to add some of those things. A lot of it on the exterior, low, medium, high, again, is kind of that, you know, traditional, more simple brick, some aluminum soffits, you know, and then you start getting into adding limestone or granite or.
On the interior.
Yes, sir.
I assume that the finishes would be fairly consistent from low, medium to high.
Yes.
Is it gonna affect soundproofing like in the offices, especially since we're consolidating offices,
Yep.
consolidating spaces? I assume that all the interior walls would be soundproofed to some
So
extent.
yeah, there's different levels of soundproofing that would be discussed through the design.
Okay.
You know, I think sound transmission is always a big topic. Soundproof. So it's kind of like when we talk about bullet resistant versus bulletproof glass, right? I mean, if you go to
Yeah.
bulletproof glass, that is a significant investment with a very heavy cost.
Gotcha.
Bullet resistant has different levels of as well, based on, you know, how much it can stand up to. Does it just hold up and not break? Sound is the same way.
So would that change in the low, medium, high cost?
Yep, that's part of what could be anticipated
Okay.
in those design
One of the things with this strategy, Stan, is with all of the open cubicle space. We've talked about a white noise system that would minimize that sound transfer. So I think we would have to deploy something like that. But again, the bulk of the open space, the bulk of the offices and the officers are in cubicle space. So what we would do, I would think, is we would think about those common areas, the conference rooms, as being a higher level of soundproofing, but the bulk of the space is going to be pretty open.
Yeah. And sound mitigation. So your ceiling tiles, they have different, I think it's STC, there's all kinds of acronyms, but right. And you know, they all have some sound absorption capabilities. You can increase those in those big areas. Same with walls, right? You have a drywall wall with a ceiling, then you can extend the wall up to the deck above the ceiling. You could add insulation, and then you keep going further, you could add resilient tracks to it, or you could actually have separate, you know, two separate walls so the sound waves don't transmit through the drywall, through the studs to the other side. Every step along the way has a cost associated with it. You have to look at those different options and weigh the pros and the cons to be able to make that decision and hone in on what the final price is. As Dave indicated, there was some second floor shelf space that is included. It could be removed and savings of a couple $100,000.
Well, what we're talking about there is that space that's necessary in the first floor plan, but not necessary for the second floor layout, shelling that in so we could finish that out relatively economically in the future for a future use.
That makes sense.
So as part of the process, there could also be selectively be some alternates as you work through the documentation and bidding that gives you real hard dollars of what the market is telling you on bid day to make. I like to make good decisions with real information.
Sure.
Right? And while we're using good data, it's not solid information today because we started with one drawing. That drawing set will end up in 300 pages probably. And this estimate will go from, 1 or 2 pages to 15 or 20 pages worth of data.
Jake, can you explain the assumed start date of construction?
Sure. When do we get the go ahead?
Is your number based on a?
Yeah. So we've included an escalation value. So our market right now is seeing about 1% a quarter. So these numbers include a 4% escalation, which would assume if you choose to move forward with the project, you would be at the marketplace about a year from today. So design timelines, permitting timelines, and procurement timelines, that's a reasonable expectation right now. I don't want to speak for our design partners, but 7, 8, 9 months, depends on how fast decisions are made in the county, right? How responsive people can be, what can influence some of those decisions, doing budget checks along the way, and then about a 4 to 6 week procurement timeline to be able to go to the marketplace, engage, local market and come to you with a finalized scope schedule.
Well, in the past, when we've asked Dave for new drawings, he usually says, I'll be back next week.
Okay, I love that commitment.
Now, okay, you said you had a 4% built into this?
Yes.
These figures,
Yes, sir.
assuming that we're probably a year out from,
Taking it to the marketplace, yes.
so that 4% is already included in your cost
Yes,
opinion here.
we're trying, the last thing I want to do is paint you a picture that doesn't have success written on the end of it.
I get it.
So I'm trying to anticipate where you would be.
Okay,
Will we get a printed copy of this?
Yes.
okay,
I
well,
can share it electronically or a hard version.
Okay.
okay, when we go back to the courthouse, which was about 7.5 cost opinion, there's no low, medium, high figuring in on that. So are we assuming that the things you're going to be using at the courthouse is going to be?
So we had more information on the courthouse because we're really trying to match existing.
Exactly.
Right. So, and we had some little more detail in the plans, I think, on here's what we're really trying to accomplish in the basement. Here's what we're trying to do here. So while I have one page for the new build, there's several pages of detail that assume, right, our detention doors, right? We have specific quantities for items with unit cost. So there's more certainty in that number. There is also, again, a sizable design contingency because not all of the details have been worked through, right? What is it really going to take to rebuild that beautiful millwork at the couple door openings we're creating and moving? That's custom things that there really aren't very many craftsmen that do that anymore. So, again, that's it. We're assuming we're going to maintain that cost.
We talked about that and the discussion was, we wanted to maintain the same look that's in there today throughout the renovated areas.
Yes. So, I feel like we had a little more information to base our number on. There's more detail, which is why there's not as much high-low, but there's still some decisions.
Now, Doug, one of the things we had talked about as we work through this, when we think about the project size and some constraints there, you did do a carve out of the mechanical, the MEP portion of the historic courthouse, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
So that is in here. All of that scope for the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing to redo that is roughly $2 million of the 7.
Of the 7.5 million, 2 million of that is mechanical.
Yeah. Now, okay, just maybe a Dave question. Okay, in all of these figures, where does the design portion come in to cost?
That's in the soft costs.
That's included in
Yeah,
the
I think
soft,
you-
basically,
20%.
I figured 20% for soft costs, which is normally
which
inclusive of
includes design.
design fees, FF&E.
Okay.
Again, those are numbers that take a lot of conversation to really hone in on it. But in all of our experience, that's a good starting point.
Okay. So did obviously, there's gonna be some change orders even when we get serious in construction.
Okay.
Okay, do you have anything built in for change orders and things like that?
So we do. So the process is that I recommend is you hire your designer and you hire a construction manager.
Right?
The construction manager starts with a professional service fee, and you work through extra budgets when you more budgets when you get more design, and you work to what's called a guaranteed maximum price. So that's when you have all of the information, you take it to the marketplace, you have hard concrete numbers, and you say, we are good, this is the number to build it. Included within that number should be a contingency for unforeseen conditions and things change, right? What I tell everyone is, if I want to move that door from here to over there, if you do it on day one in design, it's really negligible. Say it costs you $1. You move that door, after we bid it, it's going to cost you $1,000. You want to move that door after we've already installed the new door, it's $10,000 for the same thing. So the involvement on the front end, the buy-in from all of your decision makers, and really solidifying the documents helps limit the change orders that are driven by, well, I didn't think that door was going to be here and I just want to change it. So that's where my goal is to help you through that process, be able to visualize what you're getting and not want to make the changes. Some changes are inevitable. There's funds and contingency included in that guaranteed maximum price with the goal of not having a change.
Okay, this isn't a cost question. It's a question of construction. Thinking about what we have in mind, what kind of a staging area for materials, delivery, et cetera, are you going to need?
As much as we can come up with, but I know it's tight. Yeah, it's a tight site. Ideally, for construction trailers, and parking is really the biggest challenge. Where to store some materials and put vehicles. Again, that's something that ends up being a cost of work at some point. If we do a lot of work on college campuses and where parking's limited. And so if you have to park a mile away and ship people in, your marketplace partners, your contractors, they have to pay for that somehow, because it's not free. So that's a decision that we would make through
That's
the
something we
construction
really haven't
process.
discussed. We probably need to think about.
We build parking garages too, if you're interested.
Yeah, we build a parking garage.
No, I'm joking.
But it's going to take some room.
It's gonna take some room. It's gonna take a lot of coordination, which is.
We may ask for some assistance from the Decatur on street use, who knows? The building. Here's a question I have. I think if we go straight west of the existing Superior Court building, there's a parking lot. I think the county owns that parking lot.
That's our lot, yeah.
So that would be an ideal spot for some of your staging.
But we have to remember, we're still doing business. Well, we still have court
Yeah, we
going
still
on,
have-
we still have our employees parking, we still have all that stuff going on too.
Which was part of my, do you do the courthouse first and use the vacant lot for lay down and material storage for that, and then move into the new build? Or do you do the new build first to be able to get people out and shift it over? Those are conversations we've had in
Those are all
depth to be able
questions
to.
we have to figure
We
out.
have to figure it out. Okay, well, good information, that's for sure.
You're gonna clarify this, I know when we see the numbers. You gave us a low, medium, and high for the new build. One number was 15 million, one number was 12.5. Was that the high and the low, or was that the high and the medium, or where were we?
That was the high and the low. So the medium was 13.7 in the middle.
If you had a crystal ball and you could say, this project starts January 1st, 2027, what kind of a time frame, given normal weather conditions, would you expect the time frame to be?
For the construction?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the the new construction we looked at as being like 15 months, I would say 12 to 15.
You're talking about both courthouse and new building.
Yeah, ideally you would do both of them at the same time because there's a lot of efficiency in the work that's being done.
We talked about how there's, potential, when they're working in the historic courthouse, in the old courthouse, what are we gonna do with the offices that are currently there? The preference is gonna be that building be empty while they're doing their work. So we got a lot of those kind of questions to figure out. What are we gonna do with the clerk's office? What are we gonna do with circuit court? Where are we gonna do business at? Especially while the historic courthouse is being renovated.
Yes.
A lot of questions. But I obviously, the first question was, is this the right location? Can we afford to do what we need to do in this location? And so I really felt like that getting this information back sooner than later in a form that we could make those couple very basic decisions and figure out where to move forward from here was important that we get started with that.
Well, one thing I'm encouraged about is this project would ensure preservation of the courthouse, which is going to have to happen one way or the other, regardless of location. And the second thing I'm encouraged about is, I think as Dave mentioned, the courthouse would be used as a courthouse. And to me, those are two very important issues. If our county council can find a way, I know they're dead set on a couple things. One, obviously, we all know basically what a referendum would tell us. And if they can manage to fund, appears to me, if they could manage to fund anywhere from 20 to 22 million, 20 to 22 and a half, we got a good chance of being in business.
And they don't build buildings like your courthouse anymore.
Pardon me?
They don't build buildings like your courthouse.
No, they never will.
They
And
never will.
you're not gonna eliminate the building. So.
Guys, other questions? Dave?
Yeah, I'd like
Thoughts?
to emphasize the fact that, Jake, I think you said a year from now would break ground, is that right?
Mm-hmm. That's
So-
yeah. That's our
So
assumption.
that gives you, if we take 8 or 9 months for design, that gives you and the council 3 months to say go. So if you just delay months and months and months,
No.
the price is gonna go up.
Well, the 4% is gonna run out.
I can tell you guys that Jason Simler from Baker Tilly will be in to talk to council next month. And they're actually talking about a different subject, but he will be prepared if council requests it. He will be prepared to discuss funding opportunities for this type of a project with them in July.
July. Well, that's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of the big impetus for this whole plan was several things. One was to bring both courts together, and I think that does that, and it keeps it in the courthouse, which to me is fantastic. I didn't think we could do that. The other thing is to consolidate services such as community corrections, probation, and prosecutor, public defender into a building, for the sake of efficiency. And I think it just checks all the boxes for the whole reasoning that this study was started. And I think it's been hard going through eliminating other prospects that didn't work out for whatever reason. But I think it's brought us back to a very good solution, a very positive looking solution. It's gonna check all those boxes for efficiency, safety, and long-term use. So, I guess I'm just real excited about the prospect and price wise, I think it puts us, pretty much in the ballpark where we need to be. So,
And I think it was
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, I don't know, maybe Steve, you had talked to the mayor. I think somewhere along the line, we need more than a verbal commitment from Decatur in relation to parking.
Yeah, we'll work on that. I agree. But I absolutely, I've heard nothing from either city council, the mayor's office that indicated that they weren't willing to do, to help us out and do what we need them to do from a parking perspective.
Well, I think we may need some legal advice to get something more than, yeah, we're gonna help you out.
Sure.
You know, more than just a couple parking spots, okay?
I hear you.
well, and even, obviously the permitting process is gonna have to go through Decatur Board of Zoning.
You bet.
Approval.
Yeah, we got a good partner there, but we need to rely on that partner too.
Well, I think you made a very good point. You got 4% built in, and that puts us on a time frame. And that time frame means we gotta go more than, we've had enough discussion. Let's pull a trigger.
Well, at this point, guys, what I would propose, legal counsel, help me out on this. What I would propose is let's look through the documentation that Dave and Jake and their teams are gonna provide us. I think at some point, we could come to a decision as commissioners. Either this is or this is not a project that we want to move forward with. And if it is, I think we could take some formal action to move that project forward and move it into council for their consideration. I personally would like to have time to go through the documentation that they're going to be able to provide us before I have to go on record with that. But maybe even as early as next meeting, we could.
Well, and even, this is the third study that we've done, and this is by far the most positive and practical study results that we've gotten. So, just like you say, Steve, to take it beyond the point of a study and move it into an active project, that's where we're gonna have to present it to council, I think, as far as the
What do you think? Okay, we got a council meeting July 14th. Is there a possibility that we could be prepared to take it before council by July 14th?
I would think so. I don't know.
I mean-
I don't know whether we need these guys to come back or whether we would feel comfortable doing that. They probably would love to hear from at least Dave at that meeting.
You need to get those questions you were talking about answered first, so that they know what's gonna be happening with maybe the library. I'll let you use their parking lot for I don't know.
I think those are all questions that we'll figure out along the way. I don't know that we can, we can't solve those
Yeah,
before
my point is, if we don't take some serious action July 14th, now we're talking about August 14th.
Yeah.
We just lost another month.
Yeah.
We've lost how many months already?
Yeah, I'd like to be prepared with at least some concepts. Even if no more than what we got today. And then let them try to figure out the
Do
rest of
we
the
need
funding.
any official action to take this to council, or what do you guys?
No, all you need to take to council is when you figure out the actual cost estimate that you're looking at, if you get the location there, if that's your location, you'll be here at their meeting. You can tell them you have the location, you can give them an estimated number, whether you're looking at a high, low, or medium.
I would say we need an action item. We'll put it on the agenda for next week. We need an action item that coalesces around this project with these numbers and that we as commissioners feel comfortable either moving forward or not moving forward with it.
Right, but to my understanding, Mark, correct me if I'm not right. Our job is what Tony just said. We identify a location. We identify the needs, which is pretty easy. We know what they are. And if we need to identify the cost opinion, we can. And the ball's in their court. Find the money or don't.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks, before that meeting. And so I think next week, let's digest this report. next week. Let's put it on the
Just have an
agenda.
action item.
I would say put this on the commissioner's agenda from now until the 14th.
Just Center is already on it every week.
So let's, yeah, okay, so that's perfect.
Right.
So then we discuss this, you know, until that council meeting. And as soon as, you know, we get this firmed up and you're ready, then I think we send that information out to the council ahead of their meeting. Okay, you know, they meet on a Tuesday. Let's get that information out to them Thursday, Friday at the latest prior to that meeting, which we can put together a short, you know, letter and then we can kind of cover the funding options. There's been a lot of discussion about that. And so we can discuss the funding options, you know, and let's get that out in their hands ahead of time. And then hopefully on the 14th, you know, they may not be prepared to, you know, say, do it, but at least we can get them to the point that, look, you know, this is, you know, bare bones. This is, it's using the courthouse. It's got a lot of positives to it. And, you know, and they know that there's the need. So let's figure out the funding, you know, no, you know, commissioners have done their job. You've looked at so many different options, so many different costs. And I think this is probably one of the best scenarios here because all the other scenarios we had, we were gonna end up with a courthouse that was partially abandoned. And then having to deal with that. And so I think this is a good utilization of that. Building next door, I've seen a lot of counties that have done it that way and it works just fine. And so, I mean, we're in the home stretch.
Like Steve
So-
said, similar will be here at that meeting. Not on the agenda necessarily for that, but he'll be prepared to discuss possibilities of what council can do as far as funding.
For instance, if we as commissioners would decide that this is the project that we want to push forward, and these are numbers that we're comfortable with, or the numbers that feel right to us, if I feed those back to Jason, he'll already have some concepts of how that could be funded when he meets with the council in July. I've already talked to him about that.
Yeah.
That's ideal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that way he can.
I don't want
go
to
through all
mark time for
scenarios.
2 more months.
Um,
Too easy to do.
So I would like us to come back together next week as commissioners and either agree or not agree to move this forward. And then we still have time as of the 30th to get on council agenda, to make this presentation. July the 14th, is that?
Right.
I may go ahead and just have her put you on it. And then if it's on there and you're not ready, it's not a big deal.
Right. At least it's on.
That's
Can't
what
put
I
it
don't
on
like.
after the fact.
If we agree to move forward with this, Dave, Jake, either or both of you guys, you think you could be available for a 8:30-ish meeting, 9 o'clock meeting on July the 14th, Tuesday, July the 14th?
Morning or, yeah.
Morning,
Yeah.
morning.
Well, I'm on vacation, but Tony will be here.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. As long as Maya's here, she's
Yeah.
close.
We'll just zoom you in, Dave, from the beach or wherever.
She can grab Caleb and bring him along.
We've had Steve do that before, so you can do it. He's
Well,
literally
I
been.
appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah. Do you
Keeping
want
us,
us to come next week or your?
I don't think we need that. We've heard what, and if we have any questions, let's just we all have Dave's number. Let's get him back to Dave and we'll get
Well,
answers.
that would be the thing, if you would send those, opinions of price electronically, but.
And Dave,
Yeah,
if you would,
Copies of the plan.
if you would get us the plans. And again, those plans, I think we could move some offices around, and Dave and I have already talked, well, what if we want to move this one here, that one there? Really has no impact on the numbers that these guys worked out if we decide we want this office over here, not over there, and whatever. So,
Just one final question for the Garmon. I hope I pronounced that right. Okay. If the commissioners do their job, if council does their job, and let's say by the 3rd week in August, we've got the T's crossed and the I's dotted. And we start seriously moving forward. What does your construction schedule look like between, let's say, late fall and next spring?
So the design documents have to get done first. So that's gonna drive our start date. I think you're gonna need, I mean, there's a lot of detail in the courthouse. I don't wanna speak for you, but the normal process for a project of this size would take 7 to 9, 10 months for design. Again, it depends on how fast decisions are made and inputs received.
So maybe by next summer, we might see some construction.
I think a good starting point is, yeah, next spring. And the reality of it is, starting, especially on a new build in January, isn't conducive to your budget or progress,
Lots of unknowns.
right? I mean, April, and the other part is the bidding industry and our market. You don't, anything between Thanksgiving and Christmas is a waste of time. The
Really?
entire industry shuts down. You won't get good value. The best time to bid a project is early in the first quarter, so late January. You know, everyone comes back from their holiday, companies are eager to fill their backlog. You get good bid results. So if I had a crystal ball for you, I would say get moving on your design, engage a construction manager, plan to go to the market in the first quarter of 27 and start construction second quarter 27.
And that could be some early bid back, right?
You could do some early bid packages. It depends on how the courthouse piece turns into the new building. There, you know, if there's utility relocates, we've got a lot of options.
Okay.
To push forward.
Good.
Okay.
Exciting stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
Thank you.
We could deny Dave's vacation.
Sorry?
Deny Dave's vacation.
That's commissioners, you guys have to do that. Thanks, commissioners.
Yeah.
That really was the last thing on our agenda. Anything for the good of the cause, guys?
I'm good.
You need a motion to adjourn?
Well, we'll make sure you guys go ahead and do your thing.
I
Thanks, Bob.
brought a bunch of hard copies if you want them.
Very good. We'll get those distributed.
I got one for. If you guys don't have anything else, you can motion to adjourn.
Good.
Okay.
Anything else from the public? I don't see any public here that's gonna be concerned about
This
that,
is
but
the
I have to ask that question. Nothing else from the public?
Ah,
Guys, we can,
Basement.
I think we're ready to adjourn if you're ready.
I move we adjourn.
Okay.